Hello everybody. So we are from group 2. We are going to discuss about chapter 11 about establishing strategic pay plans. I'm Adinda Rahmawati and my other group member is Adeline, Bernadette Dinda, Anissa, Nurhasana Jasmine, and Raihan Dahananto. Next. So in this chapter, I'm going to explain about the basic factors in determining pay rates. Next. First, there is an employee compensation. It includes all forms of pay going to employees and arising from their employment. It has two main components. First is the direct financial payments. It includes wages, salaries, incentive, commissions, and bonuses. And indirect financial payments that includes financial benefits like employer paid insurance and vacations. In turn, employers can make direct financial payments to employees based on increments of time or based on performance. Next. Aligning total rewards with strategy. It means creating a compensation package that produces the employee behaviors the firm needs to achieve its competitive strategy. Then, equity and its impact on pay rates. The first is external equity. It refers to how a job pay rate in one company compares to the job pay rate in other companies. And internal equity, it refers to how fair the job pay rates is when compared to other jobs within the same company. For instance, if the sales managers pay fair when compared to what the production manager earns. And individual equity, it refers to the fairness of an individual's pay as compared with what his or her coworkers are earning for the same or very similar jobs within the company based on each other person's performance. And procedural equity, it refers to the perceived fairness of the processes and procedures used to make decisions regarding the allocation of pay. Next is the legal consideration in compensation. Employers do not have free rein in designing pay plans. Various laws specify things like minimum wages, overtime rates, and benefits. For example, the Davis-Bacon Act, 1931. It is a law that sets wage rates for laborers employed by contractors working for the federal government. And the Walsh-Healy Public Contract Act, 1936. A law that requires minimum wage and working conditions for employee working on any government contract amounting to more than $10,000. And the Title 7 of the 1964 Civil Rights Act. This act makes it unlawful for employers to discriminate against any individual with respect to hiring, compensation, terms, condition, or privilege of employment because of race, color, religion, sex, or national origin. And the Fair Labor Standards Act, 1938. This act provides for minimum wages, maximum hours, overtime pay, and child labor protection. The law, amended many times, covers most employees. Next is knowing your employment law. Employers need to be vigilant about employees who arrive early or leave late, lest the extra time spent on the employers properly obligate the employer to compensate the employee for that time. Next, the FSLA. FSLA sets a minimum wage. This sets a floor for employees covered by the Act. The minimum wage was $7.25 in 2015. Many states have their own minimum wage. For example, the minimum wage as of 2016 is $10,000 and in California and Massachusetts. And the next is the FLSA of child labor provisions. It prohibits employing minors between 16 and 18 years old, hazardous occupations, and carefully restrict employment of those under 16. The Know Your Employment Law feature nearby explains about paying this type of worker. It is the exempt employees. A person's exemption depends on his or her responsibilities, duties, and salary. If an employee is exempt from the FLSA's minimum wage provisions, then he or she is also exempt from its overtime pay provisions. However, certain employees are always exempt from overtime pay provisions. They include, among others, agricultural employees, live-in household employee, taxi drivers, and motion picture theater employee. Next is the independent contractor. Whether someone is an employee or an independent contractor is a continuing concern for employers. For example, a federal court ruled that most of FedEx, roughly 15,000 owner-operator delivery people, were independent contractors, not employees. To minimize the risk of independent contractor misclassification, employees should execute written agreements with all independent contractors. You'll find samples online. And next, it's the Affordable Care Act. It covers employers with 50 or more employees. Government agencies will be looking more closely at employers, independent contractors. To minimize problems, some employers are having staffing companies supply more of their workforce, thus staying below the 50 employee limit. There is the Equal Pay Act. It is an amendment to the Fair Labor Standards Act designed to require equal pay for women doing the same work as men, and the Employee Retirement Income Security Act. It is the law that provides government protection of pensions for all employees with company pension plans. It also regulates vesting rights. Next is union influences on compensation decision. Union and labor relation laws also influence pay plan design. The National Labor Relations Act of 1935, or it is called as Wagner Act, granted employees the right to unionize and to bargain collectively. However, unions also negotiate other pay-related issues, including time off with pay, income security, cost of living adjustment, and healthcare benefits. Next is pay policies. The employer's compensation strategy will manifest itself in pay policies. For example, a top hospital like Johns Hopkins might have a policy of paying nurses 20% above the prevailing market wage. Pay policies can influence the employer's performance and profitability.
Hello everyone, my name is Anissa and right now I will give you a presentation on how to conduct a job evaluation. Okay, so first we need to know what is job evaluation. Job evaluation is a systematic comparison done in order to determine the worth of one job relative to one another. The basic job evaluation procedure is comparing jobs in relation to one another, for example, by the job's required effort, complexity, and skills. Then, we can conduct a salary survey to see what others are paying for similar jobs. And then there's something called basic principle of job evaluation. It is basically when jobs that require greater qualifications, more responsibilities, and more complex job duties should receive more pay than jobs with lesser requirements. There's also something called market competitive pay plan. It is where pay plan rates are equitable both internally based on each job's relative values and externally when compared to what other employers are paying. Okay, so compensable factor is a fundamental compensable element of a job such as skills, effort, responsibility, and working conditions. Choosing compensable factors plays a big role in job evaluation since the compensable factors we use depend on the job and the job evaluation method. For example, decision making might make sense for a manager's job, but might not make sense for a cleaner's job, of course. Uh, There are several steps in preparing for the job evaluation. The first step is to identify the need for job evaluation. For example, there might be a dissatisfaction reflected in high turnover or work stoppages or arguments that may result from paying employees different rates for similar jobs. When situations are that harsh that disadvantages that not beneficial, the job evaluation might be needed to assess the job. And the next step is to getting employees to cooperate. So employees may fear that job evaluation might reduce their pay rates. So getting employees to cooperate is very important in preparing for the job evaluation. For example, we can tell employees that because of the impending job evaluation program, pay rate decisions will no longer be made just by management whim, and that no current employee's rate will be adversely affected because of the job evaluation. And the third step is to choose a job evaluation committee. This evaluation committee usually consists of about 5 members, most of whom are employees. And benchmark job is a job that is used to anchor the employer's pay scale and around which other jobs are arranged in order of relative worth. Okay, so there's the first job evaluation method, which is the ranking method. Ranking method is the simplest method of job evaluation that involves ranking each job relative to all other jobs, usually based on overall difficulty. So the first step in doing this ranking method is to obtain job information. After obtaining job information, it is needed to select and group jobs, and then to select compensable factors. After that, you can rank jobs and then combine ratings and compare current pay with what others are paying based on salary survey. And last, after doing the previous 6 steps, employers can assign a new pay scale. So this is an example of a job evaluation method, the ranking method at Jackson Hospital. We can see that there's a ranking order: the office manager, chief nurse, bookkeeper, nurse cook, and etc. And we can see their current annual pay scale, their salary survey pay, and their final assigned pay. They have a note there saying that after ranking, it becomes possible to slot additional jobs based on overall difficulty, for instance, between those already ranked, and to assign each an appropriate wage rate. The next job evaluation method is the job classification. Job classification is a simple, widely used job evaluation method in which raters categorize jobs into groups, and all the jobs in each group are of roughly the same value for pay purposes. We can see that class is grouping jobs based on a set of rules for each group or class, such as amounts of independent judgment, skill, physical effort, and so forth required. Classes usually contain similar jobs, while grades is a job classification system like the class system, although grades often contain dissimilar jobs, such as secretaries, mechanics, and firefighters. Grade descriptions are written based on compensable factors listed in classification systems. So we can see that there is a grade definition, the example of grade definition here. So first we need to know what is a grade definition. Grade definition is written descriptions of the level of responsibility and knowledge required by jobs in each grade. Similar jobs can be combined into grades or classes. So we can see in the figure below that there's grade GS7 and its nature of assignment. So the employees need to perform specialized duties in a defined functional or program area involving a wide variety of problems or situations, and etc. And we can also see the company's grade definitions level of responsibility. So the employee is assigned in terms of objectives. The employee's work is assigned in terms of objectives, priorities, and deadlines, and etc. So basically, the job classification method has several advantages. The main one is that most employers usually end up grouping jobs into classes or grades, regardless of the evaluation method they use. They do this to avoid having to price separately dozens or hundreds of jobs. Of course, the job classification automatically groups the employer's jobs into classes, and the disadvantages are that it isn't easy to write the class or grade descriptions, and considerable judgment is required to apply them. However, many employees use this. However, many employers use this method with success. Okay, so the last method is the point method, which is the job evaluation method in which a number of compensable factors are identified and then the degree to which each of these factors is present on the job is determined. Okay, so let's assume that there are 5 degrees of the compensable factor responsibility a job could contain. And then let's assume that we assign a different number of points to each degree of each compensable factor, like 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, and etc. And once the evaluation committee determines the degree to which each compensable factor is present in a job, like responsibility and effort, uh, the evaluation committee, which consists of employees, 5 employees or more, can calculate a total point value for the job by adding up the corresponding degree points for each factor. The result is a quantitative point rating for each job. The point method of job evaluation is the most popular job evaluation method today. Okay, so the next slide will be presented by my friend.
Okay, my name is Adeline, and now I'm going to explain on how to create a market competitive pay plan. In a market competitive pay plan, a job's compensation reflects the job's value in the company, as well as what other employers are paying for similar jobs in the marketplace. Next. So there are 16 steps in creating a market competitive pay plan. The first one is choosing benchmark jobs. Particularly when an employer has dozens or hundreds of different jobs, it is impractical and unnecessary to evaluate each of them separately. So we need to benchmark each of the jobs first. And second, to select compensable factors. The choice of compensable factors depends on tradition and on strategic and practical considerations. For instance, if the firm's competitive advantage is quality, so you might substitute responsibility for quality. And the third one is assign weights to compensable factors. This is to determine the relative importance of each factor. It is crucial due to the fact that each cluster of jobs, some factors are bound to be more important than others are. And the fourth one is convert percentages to point for each factor. To convert percentages to points for each compensable factors, we can multiply the percentage weight for each compensable factors by 1000, which 1000 is from assuming from total working points. And by multiplying, we would get the maximum number of points for each compensable factors. 5. Define each factor degrees. So next we will split each factor into 2 degrees and define each degree so that raters may judge the amount or degree of a factor is existing in a job. The number of degrees usually does not exceed 5 or 6, and the actual number depends mostly on judgment. 6 is to determine for each factor its factor degrees points. So the committee must be able to examine each job and determine what degree of each compensable factor that job has. For them to do this, so we must first assign points to each degree of each compensable factor. Next. Okay. 7 is to review job description and job specification. This is the main part of the job evaluation, which determine which of the job contains the selected compensable factors. And next is to evaluate the jobs. We need to determine the degree to which each compensable factor is present in each job. It is possible to determine the job complexity, effort, and first degree of level of working conditions, and how many points each benchmark job should contain. Next is to draw the current wage curve. So in here we need to draw the internal wage curve by plotting job points and wage rate, and then draw the wage curve by fitting the plotted points. 10 is to conduct a market analysis. So we will need to have salary surveys, which is surveys of what others are paying. It can be done in two ways, a formal way or even informal way. 11 is to draw the market or external wage curve. So because the internal wage curve does not reveal whether the pay rate is high or low, an external wage curve is needed in this particular thing. So we made this by using scatter plot and wage curves. So instead of using firm's wage rates, in here we will use market wage rate from the salary survey we conducted. And 12 is to compare and adjust current and market wage rates for the job. Next. So here are the graphs for how to plot wage curves. And then there is the difference between the internal wage curve and the external wage curve. And we can also see when the external and internal wage curves is combined. Okay, next.
Hello everybody, my name is Rayhan Dananto Ariadi, and right now I'm going to talk about learning objective number 5, which is about contemporary topics in compensation. The first topic I'm going to talk about is about competency-based pay. The second one is about broad banding. Third, comparable worth. Fourth, board oversight of executive pay. And lastly, total rewards. First is competency-based pay. So the definition of this is where the company pays for the employee's range, depth, and types of skills and knowledge rather than for the job title he or she holds. With competency-based pay, an employee in a class 1 job who could do class 2 job works gets paid as a class 2 worker, not class 1. This means that with more companies organizing around teams, you want to encourage employees to get and to use the skills required to rotate among jobs. Most such pay programs generally contain 5 elements. First is the employer needs to define specific required skills. Second is to choose a method for basing the person's pay on his or her skills. Third is a training system that lets employees acquire skills. Fourth is there is a formal competency testing system. And lastly, the work is designed so that the employees can easily move among jobs of varying skill level. Moving on to the second topic is about broad banding. So consolidating salary grades and ranges into just a few wide levels or bands, each of which contains a relatively wide range of jobs and salary levels. Broad banding injects greater flexibility into employee pay. The pay rate range of each broadband is relatively large, since it ranges from the minimum pay of the lowest grade, the firm merged into the broadband, up to the maximum pay of the highest merged grade. Conversely, employees assigned to traditional narrowly defined pay grades may take that's not my job attitude and focus on their usual assigned duties. Moving on to the third topic is about comparable growth. The concept by which women who are usually paid less than men can claim that men in comparable rather than in strictly equal jobs are paid more. Comparable worth refers to the requirement to pay men and women equal wages for the job that are dissimilar but of comparable value to the employer. Virtually every comparable worth case that reached court involved the point method of job evaluation. Perhaps the wisest approach is for employers to price their jobs as they see fit, with or without point plans, but also to ensure that women have equal access to all jobs. In other words, eliminate sex-segregated jobs. And this is why diversity counts. All this notwithstanding, women in the United States earn only about 81% as much as men. The gap still remained even with the most highly trained one. For example, a new female medical doctor recently earned about $70,000 per year, $17,000 per year, less than their male counterparts did. This is because employers view that women has less leverage. But in any case, it is a problem an employer needs to address. The fourth topic that I'm going to talk about is board oversight for executive pay. There are various reasons why boards are scrutinizing their executives' pay more than in the past. Law firms are filing class action suits demanding information from companies about their senior executive pay decision. The net result is that lawyers specializing in executive pay suggest that boards of directors ask themselves these questions. Has our compensation committee identified its duties and processes? Is our compensation committee using the appropriate compensation advisors? Are there any particular executive compensation issues that our committee should address? And lastly, the last topic I'm going to talk about is the total reward. A total reward is an important concept in the compensation management. People bringing to their jobs many needs for challenging works and for respect and appreciation. For instance, not all of which are satisfied by pay or bonuses. Good relationship with managers and colleagues, organizational justice, trust in employees, feeling of being valued or involved, opportunities for promotion, and a great work climate. I believe that is it for my presentation. Thank you.
So the last that we're gonna learn is the importance of total rewards for improving employee engagement. Employee engagement guide for managers. There's Total Rewards Program. Total Rewards Program includes not just traditional financial rewards like compensation and benefits. There's also non-financial and intangible rewards. For example, recognition, nature of job, or quality of work, career development opportunities, and opportunities for promotion, good relationship with managers and colleagues, organizational justice, trust in employees, feeling of being valued and involved, great work climate. There's also other recognition programs and redesign jobs. For example, well-being, like health programs and like career development. So next is total rewards and employee engagement. When it comes to employee engagement, total rewards that we have mentioned before, both materials and non-material rewards seems essential. A study found that intangible rewards had high or very high impact on engagement performance when combined with base salary and short-term incentive or bonuses. For example, one company such as Disney emphasized on providing employees or their cast members with a total rewards package that includes pay plus various benefits and career development opportunities. And the other example is Whole Foods emphasize employee involvement where they can vote new hires and the employee can see what all employees earn. So that is all from our group. Thank you very much.